Hello and welcome to the next lesson. Now, if you remember correctly, we had an error previously showing up when we unticked this slope mask normal. It was not working properly. So let's have a look at fixing it real quick before we jump into creating the slope mask function. So if I go to slope masks, and if I go to slope mask function, we here plugged in pixel normal world space. Instead, we need to plug in vertex normal world space. And this should now just work. So let's update it. Let's go back to our material instance. Get off. It's now working. And it's a bit hard to see, but it gives you a little bit of different look. You see how it's taking now vertex normal of the model into account, and it's giving you more details in places. So in some instances, it might be useful for certain look. But I personally prefer without the use slope mask normal node, because it gives you, like I said, depending on the look you want to get, but without it, it gives me more soil. And with it, cliffs kind of take over a little bit more. So as you can see, it goes all way up to here and up to here, and without it, it kind of dissipates. It's not taking vertex normal into account. And let's leave it without for now. And that kind of look cool. But for now, let's just leave it as is. We fixed the mistake, and that's what I wanted to do straight away. So save it, close the material instance for now. We're going to close the slope mask as well because that's now fixed. We're going to focus on this bit here and we're going to create another function. So go to your Udemy materials, material functions, mf, create new function. We're going to call it mf underscore slope z up mask. We're going to open it up. We're going to delete everything we have here. And we're going to start with vertex normal world space. And we're going to drop another one, and this time we're going to use pixel normal world space. So the vertex normal world space and pixel normal world space essentially is the same thing. Both pixel normal world space and vertex normal world space represent surface normals in world space, but they differ in where and how they're calculated in rendering pipelines. So the vertex normal is faster but less detailed, and pixel normal is more accurate and detailed, because every pixel gets a unique normal, and this one is shared. So let's have a look what can we do with those. We're going to drop a component mask, and we're going to mask a blue channel. And we're going to do the same for the pixel normal world space. We're going to drop in a multiply. And we're going to drop in power for both. And then we're going to go add and we're going to duplicate them for the other one as well. Great, now we're going to just create a few scalar parameters to drive this. So z up mask, multiplier. I'm going to leave it at 1.4. And power. And we're going to leave it at, let's say, 10 to make it super obvious. And we're going to drop another slope mask, the built-in slope mask. And we're going to go ahead and create another scalar parameter, the up mask slope power. And let's set it something like 3, and we're going to give it 2 full of power. And finally, just we can leave it at 2 or at 1, up to you. See what does what. I'm not going to make it a parameter. Now that bit is done, we need a few more nodes for it to work. So under it, let's create world position. And we're gonna create scalar parameter z up mask world position. And this is gonna be our height. So something like minus 1.5k. Invert that and add. So we take a z position and we're gonna add the height to it. Next, we're gonna create another scalar parameter, z up mask world position power, and let's set it to super low, something like 0.001. And drop an add node, and here it's gonna be function input scalar, function input scalar, connected like so, and we're gonna have input mask name, or just mask. Or we can just call it mask. We know what it's for. Okay, cool. So now we're gonna create another one. Vertex normal workspace. Mask B, because we only need the height. Saturate node. Connected like so. Power node. Connected to, and we're gonna drop a multiply as well. We're gonna connect it to B. Okay, so now let's continue here. Drop a multiply node, connect add to it, and connect this add here, and drop another multiply, and connect it directly without any additional mask, like so. Now we're going to drop two more saturate nodes to make sure that the values are clamped. They're cheap, they're super useful. Use them. Add node. Let's add them together, but first we're gonna multiply the second saturate by this guy and connect it back to add, like so. And now we can finally do a final assembly to multiply nodes. Grab the first saturate, we're gonna grab this add, and we're gonna get second saturate, and we're gonna get the same add. And again, saturate, clamp those values. And the first one is gonna be snow vertex mask, and the second one is going to be snow pixel mask. So pixel mask should be way more accurate, provided that it works. Sometimes it's giving you grief. Start previewing node, yeah, because you can see it does essentially the same thing, only second one is going to be much more detailed. Okay, cool. So this is going to be Z up slope mask, and we're going to give it a different color, and we have some parameters here, so let's group them correctly so they appear correctly. So Z up mask, and let's make sure that all of them are connected. Sorry, let's make sure all of them are grouped in the same way. So Z up mask, and click apply, save. That should be all done. Let's see if it's working. Let's group slope Z up mask. We're gonna input our mask, and we're gonna use vertex mask for now because it's cheaper. Let's see if it's doing the job. And we're gonna switch later to vertex mask. And we're gonna output it, and we're gonna call it slope z up mask out. Save it all. Let's go back to our master and let's use this auto material masks. It doesn't show up as an output. Slope z up mask out. So this is the first one, 10, 20, 30. Here we go. Now, not sure why I didn't before. So this is being driven by first slope mask, then second slope mask, and finally we need another one. Blend material attributes, connect it like so, and this goes to B slot. And then we're gonna leave it here and finally connect our Z up mask. And let's see what it does inside our material instance. Okay, so we forgot about the up mask noise intensity and the other parameter that we created. Let's go back. Z up mask. This is going to be the same group, Z up mask and Z up mask. And those guys should be just working by default. Let's have a look. Slope mask edge noise. And the mask should be at the bottom. Okay, cool. So let's play with it a little bit. World position. Depending on the value, it should go up and down. Here we go. That's working. That's perfect. So if you want snow to appear only on specific areas of this mesh, let's say I want snow only at the top, because if you look at the mountains, that's where snow appears. Position power. You can play with this and invert it. Leave it as is for now. The mask power. Slope power. It does almost the same thing. And if we improve, if we reduce the noise intensity, it gives you this smoother transition between the two. So like 0.5. Okay, that's looking better. Now let's just plug in our snow textures. I'm just gonna type in snow, grab our base color, normal, and RGB, and also make sure that our texture tiling is set to, let's say, 2. And this is our noise tiling. That's pretty low. Let's set it to something like 4. Noise intensity. If you can see it reverses, it does appear here. That's pretty cool. So 0.01 maybe. The up mask noise power. It just smoothed out the edges quite a bit, because that's what we want. Cool, so that's done. And obviously you can, depending on your height, it's gonna look different each time. Not right now. And I start, pulling it upwards, it's gonna change where the snow is. So the higher it goes, depending on the world position, the higher it goes, the snow is always going to be there. And if I go way below, snow is going to completely disappear. So you can basically tell the level, hey, my snow is going to be just above this line. And this is what it's going to remember, and it's going to automatically update all your meshes to look the same. And you can create, if you want some variation, you can create some instances where you tweak the world position value, and it's going to look slightly different each time. So this needs to be super low for it to work properly. Maybe even less than that. 280, let's go to 90. And we can increase the amount of snow on slopes. So that's pretty cool, but I'm still not convinced about this harsh line here. We need to blend it a little bit more. So let's have a look at that. So the reason for this rather sharp edge, even though we blurred it as much as possible, is this texture mask, which we're using for edge noise mask at the top. And remember, we imported this guy previously. This has quite a lot more contrast to it. So let's try to plug it in and see what happens. And it's already a little bit better. We just need to adjust the tiling. Maybe. Let's have a look. So like 0.2 maybe, 0.1. And let's play with power a little bit more. As you can see, it looks already a lot better. So this is quite small. Let's increase the value. 0.1, 0.2, 0.2 seems to be working okay. And we power and intensity to get rid of the sharp edges as much as possible. They're still gonna appear because this noise is not ideal, but that's a very good start. So this is another noise that we plugged in here, if you remember correctly. And this is just regular tiling noise that goes on top. It's the up mask. This is the edge mask, and this is... So let's have a look. What can we do here? Okay, this removes the sharp edge, as you can see. So that's looking... This part specifically here looks quite nice. And this is how you make your basically auto material. It's not necessarily tied up to something like a landscape mesh that I'm using currently at the level. You can apply this material to anything else that will make usage of the slopes. So it can be even a cliff, I suppose. But for the landscape meshes like this one, it works quite well. And as always, because of our object radius bias setup, the texture is going to look correct. Although I'm pretty sure if I just jump in the third-person character, it's going to look way off base. Yeah, it's too big, as you can see. But for testing purposes, it's fine. I just want you to see that it's completely possible to do something like this. And if I raise this up, or rather down, see snow appears on the same level. And you can keep spamming them around without worrying about splat masks and whatnot. You can, of course, import splat masks, but that's the whole other beast, and we're not going to be covering it in this video. This is your auto material finished. Let's go ahead and jump to the next lesson. So a quick challenge for you guys at the end of this section is to take this material and to improve it even further. Like, for example, add another texture set or convert it to the layered material that we did before. For example, one of the improvements that can be made straight away, and we have functionality for it, is to add distance field ambient occlusion, DFAO. We already have that function. We wrote it down before. So if I get material attributes and I get our ambient occlusion slot, and here I'm going to material attributes, and also get our material ambient occlusion slot, like so. We're going to connect material attributes to material attributes. We're going to connect it to the output, and then we connect this guy to ambient occlusion. Or rather, we can multiply it because we already have ambient occlusion information. You can also put in blend darken node. That will work too. Let's see what this does. If you remember correctly, with Lumen and Unreal Engine 5, the ambient occlusion is only going to appear in the darkened areas. As you can see, here it is. So let's take a look at the intensity, power, and the rest. So this is quite mild. I like this. And if you missed that section somehow, I went ahead to distance field ambient occlusion, and we had a different slot here. I replaced it with linear interpolate between our ambient occlusion mask and one being completely pure white. So intensity is now affecting the alpha between our ambient occlusion and pure white, because I couldn't get it to work otherwise to make it less intense. So intense, if you lower it, it softens the effect quite a bit, because sometimes we don't want it to be that intense. Like this is way too much. So 0.5 maybe, 0.8. Let's see how that looks. Like I quite like this. This is subtle. And this looking quite nicely in in render view. And it gives you this nice extra detail for your material. So, and this I did it in just because we already have distance field ambient occlusion functionality in. So let's rotate our light, see what's going to happen if I darken the other areas. And it's showing through quite nicely. So this is a real quick improvement on the shader that we have already. I challenge you to improve this even further and share your results with me on Discord. Let's discuss and let's see what you can do. So that's it. Thank you. Let's go to the next lesson.